Confidential. They get the job done right every time.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, and welcome to For the Record. A little late getting started this morning, but here we are. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number, provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Leave us a text message, send us a voice note. Follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. For those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to be extremely cautious. Kindly ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life that you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today or on the weekend, we want to wish you a happy birthday. We say to you, whatever you do, do it in moderation. And for those of you who have lost loved ones during the past few days, past few weeks, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and trust that your faith will take you through these very challenging times. Today being Friday, it is the day that the official opposition is on For the Record, and it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Deputy Leader MLA Mr. Alva Suku and MLA Mr. Chris Saunders, and we expect to be joined by the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Arden McLean, and also MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan later on this morning. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC. Hope you're doing well, and it's a pleasure to be back here. I want to say good morning to everybody who's listening, tuning in. I think we're going to have a very good discussion this morning. I know Mr. Saunders is raring to go. Fresh out of the LA meeting where the referendum bill was passed. Took quite a bit of debate. Quite a number of points came out that I hope that the public was paying close attention to. But we're going to go through some of those concerns here this morning.
Excellent.
So a pleasure to be here, and looking forward to the rest of the show.
Certainly. Mr. Saunders, morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Morning, OCI. And it's funny this morning. And first of all, I want to say good morning to the listening public and everyone else. I remember this morning with this late start, it actually reminded me why I was missing for a while, because the last time I was here, we had the same disrespectful late start time to the Caymanian public, and this seems to be becoming like a trend. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am leaving early this morning because I am sick and tired of the constant disrespect. If we tell the Caymanian people we're going to start something at 7:30, I expect us to start 7:30. And if we can't do that, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit ticked off this morning after seeing the education, the story of the education again, and the failing system within the education system. But government need to get these things right. And I'm beginning to wonder now if this is only on Fridays when the opposition is coming on, because when the government is on... No,
I'm going to stop it. No, you don't have to put it out there. I'm going to stop right there. It's not on Fridays only.
I'm just making sure, but the bottom line about it is I ain't coming back till you guys can get the thing started right. But it needs to be said. I mean, at the end of the day, at 7:30 start,
things do happen. You know, I get ticked myself.
But this is a regular thing, OC. Now, come on.
No, it's not a regular thing because Wednesday we started on time. You know, I'm ticked as well.
Well, exactly my point.
I'm ticked.
Wednesday you started on time when opposition wasn't there. That's my point. Thank you.
I'm ticked as well. No, I'm not going to let you twist that either. We started Wednesday, but there are times when things do happen, and we're going to set the record straight right now. It has nothing to do with what individuals or what party may be on the show. Absolutely nothing to do with that. So we will dispense of
that. Like I said, I'll just gonna say what I gotta say and leave it to this morning.
I have to defend the radio.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, you're this is part of your family and everything, and I get that. But one of the things I just wanted to directly touch into very early is this issue with the port. One of the things that has been going around is that this is not going to cost the country anything. You know, and OC, you know, it's funny enough because there's a report that the government did, and I'll give it the right name. For those watching, you can directly see there. It's Environmental Impact Assessment, Cruise Burton Terminal, Appendix J2. And it speaks about the preliminary economic evaluation of ecosystem goods and services provided by GTH Reef, which is Georgetown Arbor Reefs. And one of the things that popped out on page 20 of that report is where it basically speaks about the money that will be lost, or the impact, which is between 23 to 26 million per year from the reefs in terms of what it is that we make out there. And when you look at that roughly 25 million average between the two, thereabouts 25 million. Over a 25-year period, you're talking about roughly $600 million or $625 million. You know, so you can't sit back and say that there is no loss to the business, the country isn't paying for it. Because this is $625 million over 25 years. That will be loss as a result of this. This is not our saying. This is what the government has put in their own report from their experts. Then when you look also at the tender business, which is another $10 million per year U.S., over 25 years, that's another $250 million. Again, this is local businesses we're talking about. This is money that's already within the local economy. Then on top of that, when you look at the $2.32 that government will be giving up in revenue, as opposed to getting over 25 years at 2.5 million passengers, that's $145 million. So within the 25-year period, you're talking in excess of $1 billion out of the local economy, straight up. And then you look at the multiplier effect in terms of those employees, because up to now, everyone is talking about these 900 jobs, which we find out now is 200 jobs that's going to be created. The flip side is no one is even talking about, and I'm glad my colleague Bernie Bush from West Bay North raised it in his debate, when you say, you know, what is going to be happening to the employees now that are going to lose their jobs? What about their living? What about their families? Everyone is talking about, you know, what we may get. We know what we have now. And, you know, the thing about it is, OC, that what really got me is that when you look at the PPM's manifesto in 2005, the one time the PPM have ever gotten a mandate. In 2009, they lost the election. In 2013, they got 9 of 18 seats. And in the last election, the PPM had 7 of 19 seats. So the only true election where they had a mandate was actually in 2005. And in that manifesto, which I know I have it here somewhere. Yeah, in that manifesto, they made it perfectly clear that they were against mass tourism. And when you consider that, we have still yet to update our development plan. We have still yet to know the true carrying capacity of this country, because the development plan is more than 20 years old. And it's by law, that's a plan that's supposed to be developed every 5 years. You know, a little piecemeal here, a little piecemeal there. This is why we're having all these infrastructure troubles. So you can't deal with the infrastructure you have now. We're already seeing it with traffic. We're already seeing it in garbage collection. And their solution is, let's grow the local population to, 100,000 and then put more tourists out there and we're going to spread this out. I mean, at the end of the day, these are all good things to say. They're nice things to say. But the reality of it is, for those of us who are living in infrastructure, it is a problem.
Okay. We have one caller. Let's grab that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Well, very thankful And it's always good to listen to my favorite radio station, Radio Cayman.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the days when any of our MLAs are on, and that's especially on Friday to hear the opposition on. A little thing to keep in mind: write plans in pencil and give God the eraser. I'm saying that.
Caller, you're breaking up for some reason. You're breaking up.
No, I said give God and write your plans in pencil and give God the eraser.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm saying that is Radio Cayman is a station my radio is on 99% of the time, and I look forward to each day that any of the MLAs, no matter what side they're on, are on, and that means Friday. And I was looking forward to today.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say in response to my dear Mr. Chris's comment about feeling that it's only on the opposition day that the program starts late. So it starts late at other times, but most times it's on time. And I, as a listening member can say clearly that I do not in any way feel it's because it's opposition day. There's no slight criticism on any of you. OC has no control over the length of the news items and the bulletins and all the other little things that happen before 7:30. Sometimes they go beyond. So don't feel slighted at all. Please stay and let us have the benefit of all of the comments that are made by the 3 or 4 or 5 of you that it will be today, because I, for one, look forward to every person's words, because we have to listen and then pick out of what is said what is good. And Friday is always a good day. All right? God bless all of you. Thank you very, very much. Keep up the good work. I know you've had a hard week at the MLA, and I listened intently to as many of the speeches that I could, time would allow. And I'm glad it's over. There are certain things I myself feel should have been dealt with differently, but I'm only a member outside. But thank God I still have a voice, which is finally returning. It was a bit tough for me. Thanks, God bless, and each one of you take care.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. I'm going to say welcome and good morning to Mr. MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, and give all of you an opportunity to respond if you want to the caller's comments as well. Mr. Bryan, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to my colleagues. Sorry I'm a little bit late, and traffic is still an issue, so that caused the problem this morning.
But you live in Georgetown.
That's how bad it is. It's a pleasure to be here. Obviously, a lot to talk about, so I look forward to the show.
Okay. Any comments on Ms. Alice May's comment?
No, well, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to sit back, but the last few times I've been here, OC, it has been a problem. And I remember even one time, even just leaving early for exactly the same reason too. You know what I mean? So this isn't like an isolated incident. This is becoming almost like a pattern. So if we don't sit down and nip it, because one of the things that we like to do is speak about these things quietly and not put it in the public. Well, I'm putting it in the public now that I really expect, if you tell the Caymanian people you're starting a show at 7:30, for people who are stuck in traffic and looking forward to it, we expect to start 7:30. Even if you're going to start and then run what you want to run, but at least start on time. You know, we can't be carrying Cayman time now in the radio station and all that. And I remember growing up, literally you could set your clock to BBC. You used to get that boop, and people exactly know, 800 or whatever, Greenwich Mean Which time, whatever. But radio stations have always been seen as being one of the things that start on time. But 10 minutes, literally almost, come on, that's unacceptable.
Okay. Well, what we have done is that, if you notice, we've cut out the commercial, so we're going to allow you to go to until about 2 minutes, 7:58, and we're going to break for the 8 o'clock news then. So we've gone straight through from when we started without a commercial break. So we still have another 6 minutes that we can utilize in terms of getting your messages across. Who wants to go?
Well, one of the things I want to touch on also, OC, is that, this whole thing about I mean, government, they're talking about all the additional revenues government is going to make and everything else. And one of the things I just want to touch on is it's kind of a little bit ironic. If you go to if you go to the 2018 Companion Statistics, you will directly see a listing of all the government revenues. And what is weird is that when you look at base year of 2009, that year government total revenues from cruise tourism was 9 million, and sorry, let me put it in thing there. From the cruise departure tax was 9 million, and at the same time, government revenues from tourism accommodation tax was actually 9.2 million. So when you actually take those two as a kind of base year, and at that time back in 2009, total stayover tourism was actually air arrival, let me say that, was roughly 272,000. So for 272,000 passengers or air arrivals, government tourism accommodation tax that year was 9.2 million. And in 2009, the total cruise arrival was roughly a little over 1.5 million, and government was 9 million. And then if you go down to 2018, during that period of time, air arrivals went up to 463,000 for the year, for 2018, and cruise arrivals were 1.9 million. So in essence, we'll see, just the kind of collateral thing. Government increased cruise arrivals by 401,000 passengers between 2009 and 2018, 401,000.
That's 9 years.
Yeah. And government revenues went from, for cruise departure tax, whatever, went from 9 million to 11.5 million. So this, we're talking direct revenues now, not indirect, direct revenues. So for extra 401,000 passengers, just under that, government direct revenues went up by 2.5 million. Whereas on the air arrivals, that went up by 191,000 from roughly 272 to 463. That went up 191,000. And their revenues during that period of time went from 9.2 million to 32.7 million in direct revenues, an increase of 23.5 million. So you have 191,000 more air arrivals. Your tourism accommodation tax went up by 23.5 million. You have 401,000 in cruise arrivals increase. Your total direct revenues went up to 2.5 million. So 191,000.
When you say direct revenue, you're talking about
government line item. Yep.
But
same.
So we're comparing apples to apples in terms of the tourism, the head tax that you receive from the tourism and what you receive from the
airport.
Yeah,
airport.
Mark, like I said, this is direct because there are other indirect spin-offs that you will have. You know what I mean? So when you start looking at that, 191,000 increase in your arrivals, your revenues went up from 9.2 million to 32.7 million. 401,000 in cruise arrival, it went from 9 million to 11.5 million in direct revenue. So when people get up and talking about all these extra revenues that government making, this is your numbers, this is direct. No, like I said, there are other benefits you get indirectly because I'm assuming that they will spend more. But when you start looking in terms of the per person spend, each year you start looking at the Breer report. You realize that the per person average is basically getting smaller and smaller because you're bringing on more people, but it doesn't necessarily mean. And I think as Mr. Miller from Northside had said to in his debate, if you believe that keeping people on port much longer will generate them spending more, well, he said to somebody, well, next time they come inside, you shop, lock the door, and see if you can get any extra money out of them. If you think you can lock somebody in a store and they're going to end up spending more, this is not going to work.
The extra time that is on shore, they haven't been able to prove that the extra time on shore is actually going to equivalent to more spending. It could be that they're going to spend another 45 minutes in our beautiful sun. So the simple fact is that the spenders are actually in overnight stays. And again, back to Mr. Miller's debate, he goes sit down out there and watch when they're walking back onto the ships. They're not going back on with loads of different bags of shopping stuff. Their spend doesn't go very far as opposed to overstay. So which ones do we want to attract the most? Where are we going to spend most of our infrastructure to protect in respect to value?
And what are we hearing from the merchants in this regard? What are they saying?
Well, I can't tell you the emergency, but I can tell you what the government report said, the last tourism report that the Minister O'Connor had published, and this is from the CIA Department of Tourism Visitor Exit Survey. And it spoke about cruise tourism, and it talks about average time ashore. And I just want to read it here. It says, on average, a cruise ship remained in the destination for 8 hours and 22 minutes. Cruise ships stayed between 7 hours and 56 minutes and 8 hours and 45 minutes in 2017. Ships were docked the longest on Wednesdays and shortest on Fridays. Ships stayed longer in the peak season of February to April and November to December. So, per the government's own report, they're already saying the ships are 8 hours. But the real kicker in all of this, OC, is if you go to the FCCA's economic report, which is done by Brea, which all of us use as the kind of Bible in this regard, they surveyed 34 destinations in terms of average times ashore during the thing there. And this is on page 88 of that report. Of the 34 destinations, only 5 of them had in excess of 5 hours onshore. And I won't list all 34 of them, but I'll tell you who number 5 is. Jamaica is at number 5. Puerto Vallarta is at number 4. And Cayman is at number 3. So when you look around it, everybody basically has peers. And we're still boxing above our weight. There's nothing wrong with us being unique.
Okay. We've reached the top of the hour, so we will start the 8 o'clock news on time. When we return, the conversation will continue as well. I want to talk more about the referendum itself and how the campaign, what will be the face of the campaign for the cruise, the port and cruise berthing facility. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
When the storm of 32 struck Cayman Brac, records show it did so with 200-mile-per-hour winds, with waves washing atop of the 140-foot bluff. Although shielded from the major winds at first, once the eye of the storm had passed and the winds turned, the island was hit from the north, where nearly all of the houses were situated. When the storm passed, all of the houses were destroyed, all provisions lost, and 108 losses of life accounted for in Cayman Brac alone. Not to mention the trauma that the survivors had to endure, including post-traumatic stress, gastrointestinal cases, polluted water, and insufficient food. But out of chaos grew a sense of harmony as people forgot their differences and worked together to overcome the disaster. Although having been hit hard, Grand Cayman sent materials and manpower without pay, and the sister islanders selflessly cooperated to rebuild their islands.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
It's time to start planning for the best family event of the holiday season, the Cayman National Parade of Lights, happening in Camana Bay Saturday, December 7th. With $4,000 in cash prizes up for grabs, now is the time to get your boat signed up. $2,000 cash will be going to the lucky winners of the small and large boat categories. Check out the Cayman National Parade of Lights Facebook page to register your boat, or email info@hurleysmedia.ky for your chance at $2,000 cash. Cayman National Parade of Lights in the Camana Bay Harbor on Saturday, December 7th.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Sagicor. Let us put a smile on your face. Call 949-8211. The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Sagicor. Let us put a smile on your face. Call 949-8211.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. A top hostage negotiator, the CEO of a company which supplies environmental products to ship owners and operators, and the heads of 2 maritime technology firms were all part of an impressive lineup of speakers for the 2019 Women's International Shipping and Trading Association AGM and conference this week.
This is not a time to just pat ourselves on the back. In the coming years, we must make sure we continue to encourage, help, and create opportunities. The goal of diversity is to create a level playing field of opportunity for all, and this can only be done when some of the old-fashioned ways of doing things are addressed. While awareness of diversity and gender-related issues has never been higher, there is a lot to be done to create lasting and meaningful change. As a society and as an industry, we have to make sure these changes are sustainable.
This is the first time Cayman is hosting WISTA AGM and conference under the theme Founded Upon the Seas, a nod to Cayman's maritime heritage. And it's open season for conch and whelk in Cayman. More from Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego.
Starting today through April 30th, the Department of Environment, DOE, allows the taking of conch and whelk from coastal waters within legal limits. Those legal limits for possessing conch during the open season is 5 per person or 10 per boat each day, whichever is less. Only queen conch may be taken, and no one may take or permit another person to take, purchase, receive, offer for sale, or possess more than 5 conchs from Cayman waters. Now, the legal daily limit for possession of whelks during the open season is 2.5 gallons in the shell or 2.5 pounds of processed whelks per person per day. No one may purchase or receive more than 2.5 gallons in the shell or 2.5 pounds of processed whelks from Cayman for each day. Chitons, periwinkles, and bleeding teeth may not be taken, and starfish, sea eggs, sea cucumbers, and sand dollars also may not be taken. Individuals are urged not to purchase conch or whelk from those who take, purchase, or possess more than the legal limits, even during the open season. Those possessing more than the legal limit will also be arrested and prosecuted. A quick note: Cayman's annual lobster season does not open until December 1st. Anyone caught possessing locally caught lobster out of season will be arrested and prosecuted. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
If anyone sees or suspects poaching activity, you can contact the DOE enforcement officers directly on 916-4271 for Grand Cayman, 911 on Cayman Brac, and by calling 925-0185 if you're on Little Cayman. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Schools in Delhi have been shut until Tuesday as air pollution reached alarming levels. The Chief Minister says the Indian capital has turned into a gas chamber due to smoke from farm fires in neighbouring states. The environmental authorities have declared a public health emergency and banned all construction activities for the next 4 days. Tens of thousands of anti-government protesters are holding a rally in the Pakistani capital Islamabad, demanding the ouster of the Prime Minister Imran Khan. Opposition politicians have been addressing the demonstration organised by Maulana Fazlur Rahman, the leader of one of Pakistan's biggest religious parties. A senior Chinese official has indicated Beijing might change the way it governs Hong Kong after months of pro-democracy protests there. Chen Shan-yao said Communist Party leaders had discussed ways to improve the central government's mechanism of appointing and removing Hong Kong's chief executive and other key officials. Russian and Turkish troops have begun their first joint patrols in northeastern Syria as part of a deal the two countries agreed to end a Turkish incursion against Kurdish fighters. The Brexit Party leader has called on Britain's Prime Minister to drop the deal he negotiated with the European Union. At the launch of his campaign for next month's general election, Nigel Farage said Boris Johnson's deal was a sellout that would not deliver an independent, self-governing Britain. An appeals court in Thailand has greatly increased the prison sentence for a former military general convicted in a landmark human trafficking case involving Rohingya Muslims. Former Army Lieutenant General Manat Kongpan saw his 27-year prison term increase to 82 years. He played a key role in a trafficking ring which held mostly Rohingya Muslim migrants hostage until their relatives could pay for their release. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Saturday, November 30, just before Christmas. You, yes, you can be the grand prize winner of $40,000 with your Rotary Central Music Extravaganza ticket purchase of only $25. Win that grand prize of $40,000. Second prize of $4,000, 6 $1,000 prizes, and more. Yes, Saturday, November 30, the 24th Rotary Central Music Extravaganza, Royal Palms, West Bay Road from 7 p.m. Music by Sugar Daddy, C&B, Leslie Duran, and Trio Caribe. Get your golden tickets now on sale through Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, and eventpro.ky. Every ticket funds a cause. Rotary Central, 50 community projects over 33 years. Your ticket can be the winner. Your ticket, your chance, your community. Rotary, connecting the world.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Thinking of decorating your home or your apartment? Then Super Stitch is the place for all your household needs. We have sheets, comforters, bathroom accessories, curtains, and a whole lot more. We are the original curtain store with curtains for every room in the house. Some special now curtains for $10 a panel. Yes, just $10 a panel. Come see us today at Super Stitch. Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Pleasant good morning. This is the official public weather forecast prepared by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Winds are currently coming in from the east-northeast at 6 knots. Barometric pressure is at 1015.2 millibars and rising. Current humidity is at 88%, and the current temperature is at 82 degrees. Isolated showers are expected over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as an upper-level low pressure lingers over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the west. Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies, 30% chances of morning showers and possible thunder. Temperatures expected to rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be northeast between 5 to 10 knots. Seas expected to be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Sunset today in the Cayman Islands, 5:50 p.m. Sunrise, 6:27 tomorrow. Outlook is for moderate winds and moderate seas. The tropical wave moves into the Caribbean, increasing pressure gradient.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Thinking of decorating your home or your apartment? Then Superstitch is the place for all your household needs. We have sheets, comforters, bathroom accessories, curtains, and a whole lot more. We are the original curtain store with curtains for every room in the house. Some special now curtains for $10 a panel. Yes, just $10 a panel. Come see us today at Superstitch. Superstitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadena Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today. Good morning to our drivers on the road. Take a look at the Subway traffic update. Slow moving traffic coming in from the east as you head on toward Lantern Point. Things also begin to slow down between the roundabout Lion Center as well as onto the Linford Pearson Highway. Take a look at Industrial Park, moderate flow of traffic in that area. And things begin to pick up as you head on towards Godfrey Nixon Way, smooth flowing traffic between Shedden Road and Edward Street. Currently no accidents reported this time. Give us a call 949-6990 if you see anything up there.
Pizza. Everybody loves pizza. And now at Subway, you can customize your personal pizza with Subway's always fresh ingredients. Maybe you're a carnivore and want to pile your pizza with fresh pepperoni, chicken, or salami. Or for the veggie lovers, add fresh tomatoes, onions, spinach, and olives. There's so many great combinations. Pop into any of Subway's 7 locations and customize your fresh hot pizza with all your favorite fresh ingredients. Now, with 3 locations open 24 hours. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, we now have Deputy Leader of Opposition, Mr. MLA, Mr. Alva Suku, and the MLA who represents Georgetown Central in our Legislative Assembly, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Gentlemen, during the break we received one message from one of our listeners, and there were 3 points that they articulated on. One was they are very interested to hear from the veteran seamen and to get their input on the proposed cruise berthing facility, port and cruise berthing facility. And then their second point was, why not retrofit the present facilities to fit our current tourism requirements? And the last observation was, it seems as if greed will be the death of us all as a people. Comments?
Well, it's hard to argue with those comments, especially with regard to retrofitting and the greed comment. I tend to feel the same way. As far as the seamen that we have that would have the experience, I know a few have weighed in. But maybe, yes, we will take the suggestion that we need to seek some opinions from them as well on a much wider scale. I actually have a constituent whose father wanted to weigh in. I'm going to actually go and visit him. He has a lot of experience, maritime experience as well. But Mr. Miller, I think, has spent a lot of time talking about retrofitting and upgrading the current facilities and focusing more on,
in particular the land side, yeah?
Yeah, the land side, and not having people standing in lines and have an indoor area, air conditioned, to give them more comfort, kind of like a terminal, so they can embark and disembark in comfort rather than standing in lines in the hot sun. So there are things like that can be done, and I agree with that I think that is where we should be focused. not surprisingly, a lot of our visitors enjoy the tendering experience. I think if we, as Mr. Miller has said, this is not just me saying it, but improving the tender experience, air-conditioned tenders, where, and if you think about it from a marketing point of view, if you have a bigger tender, air-conditioned with more amenities inside, you could actually have people marketing their services and so forth, either through video presentations on a screen or whatever, as the passengers come ashore. So it would offer an opportunity for businesses to market themselves, restaurants, tour operators, whoever they may be, while the passengers are on the tender coming ashore. So, those are things, and that would help then, to kind of offset the situation with the pre-booking, where we know that a lot of our tour operators get the crumbs after the cruise lines take the lion's share of the money for pre-booking of tours. So that would allow the more independent operators to market themselves to the people who haven't pre-booked. That's another thing. We see a lot of people walking around Georgetown coming off the cruise ship who clearly haven't pre-booked anything. They're just wandering around. Something might catch their attention that you present to them on the tender.
Yeah. Now, on the issue of the pre-booked tours, and now that the Verdant Isle group are underground, has anyone approached them, or any figures been revealed in terms of how much they actually collect? We know what the providers on this end, the Cayman end, we know what they get. And has any suggestion been made in terms of how those funds can be shared equitably?
I brought it up in my debate, OC, because it has come to my attention from the tour operators in particular that it's really unfair. The cruise ships are doing the pre-booking, and then they decide how much you're going to get out of that. And it leaves our people, and I heard the argument that then our people try to undercut each other and outsell each other by lowering their prices. But if you think about what that means, they're lowering their prices, so they're fighting over the scraps, the crumbs. I think that the government, and I said this in my debate, the government's one of their top priorities should have been, if you want to go down this road, is to make sure that you negotiate a much better deal for all the operators prior to signing any contract. That has to be part and parcel of this contract. I hope they do it now. It's not too late. But I don't think that discussion has been had. I haven't seen any evidence of it.
Okay. Now, from a legislative standpoint, can we, for those persons who were unable to follow the proceedings at the Legislative Assembly, or who may be following them now because the rebroadcasts usually lag a little bit behind, can you explain to our audience what occurred in the Legislative Assembly? Explain to them in relation to the question itself, what has been done, with that, and some of the other amendments to the legislation as well. And then based on what we now have, whether or not you're satisfied, in terms of moving forward with the referendum based on what has the final results that have come out of the debates in the Legislative Assembly and the passage of the bill.
Okay. You want me to take a job at it first, or you want to go first?
Well, I'll start off by saying, no, we're not satisfied. Okay. But it is what it is. The government has a majority. The bill has been passed. So there's no sense in us crying about it now. My message to the public is to get out and vote. That is the underlying message I want to give everybody here today. Don't worry about the arguments about should I stay home, should I go out. Just forget about all that. Get out and vote no. That is my message.
And I concur with that. The simple fact is, at this particular point, outside of examining all the information about what helps you make your decision, get out and vote. And my position is to vote no. Vote against this project. This is not well thought out, in my opinion, in respect to the overall tourism plan and future development for the country. But just to give you a little answers to some of your questions in respect to the bill, the law is basically the governing structure of how the referendum will go. And in it, there are the preambles of certain things, like, for instance, how the count will go, what the procedures are, what the laws are, and so forth. There were some amendments, and I want to identify what those amendments were, because I'm pleased that the government at least found a mechanism to withdraw, not from the list, but not have them in the overall final count of the 45 deceased persons. That was one of the amendments within the bill. So we won't have that constitutional conflict, because I think that could be challenged in the courts. That's my opinion. But they rectified that. The other part that was a major change was the fact that they separated the question from the bill, from the law itself, because we've seen the legal opinion by the CPR group, who suggests that the Constitution says you have to have a law first before you formulate the question. So in abundance of caution, I'm assuming the government decided to withdraw that question itself and then formulate it by way of regulation and schedule afterwards.
But will the question still remain the same?
It's supposed to. There's no guarantee, but the law was gazetted yesterday. I haven't seen anything final on the question itself or the date, but we were told to trust. So we have to trust that the government will not change the question and that they'll proceed as per the original question.
Now, so moving forward then, is it in the event that we don't end up with a referendum bill, it will be left up to the government to decide the question and not for the LA to have any input in relation to that question?
We were reminded several times that is a cabinet responsibility. It's a bit hypocritical because, can I borrow your bill there, Mr. Breyer? Sorry. And not to cut Kenneth, I know he was going down the path of explaining this.
Sure.
But we also have a section in here that I argued strongly because there's a clause that says the cabinet may by order amend Schedule 2. Schedule 2 is contained within the bill, and Schedule 2 actually contains legislation. So it contains references to the elections law that they've imported into this law. And the bill gave cabinet the authority to amend that without coming to the LA. So they could, in essence, sit in cabinet now and completely change this law, and nobody would know until you look at the Gazette, which I think is dangerous because it takes my lawmaking ability away from me and puts it in the hands of cabinet. So you have a completely unbalanced situation where cabinet can make laws without coming to the legislature. That is undemocratic. That is completely violates the Constitution in my mind. And I think it also means that the governor doesn't have to assent to those changes. So they've taken him out of the loop too. I hope he's listening.
Yeah. I listened to your debate and you raised some very pertinent questions there. Some that at the end of the day were not answered. And I think the Attorney General at the end of the day was saying, you just have to trust.
Well, that was the ultimate answer. And I know that he's in a curious position because he is the legal advisor to the government, and he kept saying, well, this is government policy, which is his way of saying, this is not me doing this, but, this is how they've asked me to do it. It's unfortunate because and he said it has been done in previous bills, but that doesn't make it right.
Yes.
Two wrongs don't make it right. So
Well, and the key point in respect to what my colleague just said, about the laws having schedules where a cabinet can make the necessary changes. Yes, that may be common in other laws, but elections law and other laws are two different things, because the persons who are changing it, particularly with elections, are biased in that respect, because there could be a potential for something similar to gerrymandering, so to speak. And I don't think the government should want to be in that type of situation. And this again highlights why we should have had a referendum law from so long ago, because we would have, from a neutral position, no issue before us, just look at any generalized issue, we would have come to a conclusion of how that process should be done. And again, I want to give so much support to the leader of opposition. He's been speaking about this issue for decades now, talking about an electoral commission, and this government who's been saying that they're about transparency and democracy, have had many opportunities. Even the recent constitutional changes, why was that not brought up then? If it was something important, because ideally we wouldn't have these types of problems that we're having right now if that independent commission would be dealing with it, particularly the question. Now, my colleague also brought up a very strong, I think potentially could be a legal challenge in the future still, about this word assent to. Now, they have said that the interpretation of assent to is to come to some conclusion, is what they're meaning, whether it's yes or whether it's no. My colleague and I think that that's not what it means. And the reason why it should be that the government has to prove that the people want to support their policy is because they have the control of manipulation of the question. As long as they have the control of the manipulation of the question, not me say manipulation of the question, the formulation of the question, because depending on how they formulate the question, they can manipulate the process to allow this percentage of persons who don't come out to work in their favor, whether it's for or whether it's against. Hence the reason why the interpretation of the Constitution, when it says assent to, has to stay firm. Now, if that decision of how the question was formulated was in the hands of an independent commission, then I could say, yes, assent could mean for or against. But once they have that control, you can't have the interpretation of assent be for or against, and you have the control of a question to manipulate it in either way, because then they have the opportunity to manipulate it in a favorable way that they want. So I'm concerned. I must say I'm concerned that there's a potential chance that the electoral observers will come and potentially go, I might be a bit funny.
Yeah. Okay, we have to take a commercial break, and we have a caller on hold as well, so we're going to do that. And then when we return, I want to talk some more about the changes. I know one that was extremely topical had to do with the additional registered voters whose names will not appear on the official register of voters that will be used in the referendum, and there's no possibility of them being included as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back immediately after this commercial break, and for the caller who is on hold, we will take your call as soon as we return.
Saturday, November 2nd, Breeze Fusion 2019.
Are you ready? Yeah. The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run. Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run and a 10K run for half marathon trainers. Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCBO.
Yes, Cayman Islands, it's back. Your chance to be healthy. Your chance to give back.
Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studios.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Saturday, November 2nd.
I like to move it. You like to move it. The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Taking place at Smith Bacadere, starting at 6:15 a.m.
Put a brand new 2020 Chevrolet Equinox Premier under your tree this Christmas and enjoy the most equipped SUV in its class with foot sensor liftgate, four-wheel drive, panoramic sunroof, ventilated leather seats, wireless phone charge, parking assist, front collision sensor, rear vision camera, remote vehicle start, and a 1.5-liter turbo engine. Whew. And the best part is, buy now and pay nothing until next year. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive for a test drive or visit AdvancedChevrolet.com to start enjoying your Christmas early.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit britk.ky or call 949-8699.
Brit K, where people come first.
This referendum is bigger than the port itself. This is going to teach our people that, yes, we can make decisions. We can stop roads from being closed. We can stop markets from being developed. We can get jobs. We can be trained. Never again will we be second-class citizens in our own country begging at the doors of the NAU. I implore you to come out and vote in this referendum. We can change our circumstances forever.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines as promised. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the gentleman there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was at the meetings Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And at the LA, I'm speaking about.
Yep, I saw you.
I must say that I was really, really shocked at some of the comments by the government, and to know that they would just run down and call names and whatever else that they could do, they did it, because they should be proud to know that the CPR group of ladies and gentlemen, Caymanians, that are standing up for our rights. They should be proud of that, not running them down. To know that they can challenge, we can all challenge the government, whatever they attempt to do. In this case, is about building up a port. Now I'm hearing cargo port. Is that just a cut-in to sweet milk? Some people that really want this thing to go through, not taking in consideration the dangers of our environment. Why can't they just finish the jobs that they've begun, like the airport, like
schools?
Schools, so important for our children to get education. So important because they are our children, they are our leaders of tomorrow. I've been on many cruises, and I've been on those cruises that had the piers right in, that you could walk off and walk back on. And believe me, gentlemen, I don't know of anyone that I've been in the group of that went ashore and patronized anything. We were all about touring, and that is it. They didn't patronize jewelry shops because the ships have them on board. They did not patronize restaurant because you already paid for that, so you just walk back to the ship and you get your food, and you can come back off again. But you see, I don't think any of those that's pushing this think of things like that or the environment, and we cannot forget that dump. We cannot forget that dump because that's getting higher and higher, and believe me, the scent that is coming from that, like yesterday and the day before, it sometimes is unbearable. Try do something about that. Try do something about that. Not something. Oh Jesus! It gets me to aggravated to no end, and I know I have high blood pressure, so I got to watch out for myself. But I was proud of you gentlemen. I was proud of the opposition. I was proud of CPR, and I pray and I hope, but I need to ask one question. Are you all planning a meeting before the 19th of December? Because so many people are not understanding this voting at all. I've heard it on Dwayne's show yesterday, some question asked, because some people are going to be off the island, and apparently they were told that they couldn't vote if they can be off the island. Dwayne he corrected that. Oh yes, oh yes. So if you all are going to have a meeting, maybe, or I'm begging you all to have a meeting, maybe all of that should be explained. If not, you can say what day you're going to be on the show to explain all of that to the people of this island, and do it in advance so people can get to turn on their radios and stuff like that. Maybe even, I got to ask OC though, if this could go on a Saturday to sort of guide the people through this process.
We certainly will be.
I would support that
yes,
actually.
yeah.
I would show up to the radio show if it was on a Saturday as
Yeah, I
well,
would
because
too.
that's the time of day, especially if you do it the time of day on Saturday when people are driving
home,
around
yes,
and they can listen. Yeah.
Exactly.
a good idea.
And I thank you for your time.
Thank you for
And
very
I
much.
for the call.
Thank you all for what you're doing for us, the people, and all of a sudden they got jobs now. As long as these ships been coming in here, they didn't have no jobs for Cayman, but all of a sudden now they got jobs. Yeah. Oh my God! Anyway, thank you, gentlemen, and I pray that you all keep safe, and God gives you all health and strength, and also Mr. O.C.
Thank you very much, caller, for that.
so much.
We have another caller. Let's take that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning.
A very important topic. Just keep it going. People need to get kept reminded about it. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of its parliamentarians that stood up against the development of the sport, and for whatever reasons it was. I want to congratulate Bernie Bush for making the choice, because I know his conscience bothered him why he had to make what he had to do. Like that man said, call not all to call. But what we need the government to do is, like someone said earlier, they need to go back to the cruise line. They should be standing for the people, not against the people. They need to go back to the cruise line. We have had many meetings with government, asking the government to go in and deal with about on the bidding for prices. That's exactly what they need to deal with. And not try and take other poor people's mouth. Poor people getting enough as it is now, and as it is, there's a lot of people out there that want to vote for this referendum. Especially, I've spoken to several civil servants, but they're scared. They're scared because some people are told that if they vote against it, they will no longer have a job. So I think that we need to go back to the drawing table and get this date changed. Whether we should, because it's unconstitutional, as people have been saying, and it's wrong. And this is not what the people want. And it should be for the betterment of people. They need to remember that it was the people of the Caymanian people that put them where they are today, so they can benefit whatever benefits they're getting from elections. They need to go back to the drawing table and make it be pleasable to the people, so the people will get their democratic right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. We still have 2 minutes before we go to the break, so we can comment on both.
I'll quickly say, OC, we will be having public meetings. We will be talking on the radio shows. I just want to make one point clear. I know the government's already put out a schedule of meetings. Unfortunately, one of the points we had to argue was this use of public funds for waging these campaigns. The government has access to public funds, and they're using them. The opposition doesn't. The Premier referred to this European Commission for Democracy Through Law, the Venice Commission, code of practice for referendums. And he said he referred to it in setting the question and so forth. What he didn't refer to was the section on equality of opportunity, which basically said there should be no use of public funds for this campaign, a campaign and a referendum. And if there is, then it has to be equal. So if the government is going to spend $200,000, the opposition and CPR should also be given $200,000. They completely ignored that. So they were
should be given, or they should be allowed to spend $200,000 as well.
The use of public funds should be shared equitably as well.
Okay.
If you go according to this code of practice, but they ignored those sections, and it goes on to say there really shouldn't be any use of public funds. But if you're going to do it, then make it equitable. But they didn't do that.
Wow. I just want to note before we quickly go to the break is that we will definitely be reaching out from the opposition to the elections office to make sure that there's a strong education campaign about the where, when, how, and what process about the referendum, because it's worrying to hear people saying, well, they're not going to be able to vote, and just that's a re-education of explaining the mobile, the pre-voting, as well as the referendum day, and all of those different things, so people can know. So we'll touch base with the supervisor and ask what their schedule of education campaign is going to be, just to make sure that the people get the information, because we have to use a department that has the monies available, because we can't pay for that campaign ourselves. You know?
But the short rule is, if your name is on that voters list, you have the right to vote, whether it be by mobile, postal, if you're going away,
or in person.
Yes.
Okay. Commercial break, and we have a caller on hold as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Saturday, November 30, just before Christmas. You, yes, you can be the grand prize winner of $40,000 with your Rotary Central Music Extravaganza ticket purchase of only $25. Win that grand prize of $40,000. Second prize of $4,000, 6 $1,000 prizes, and more. Yes, Saturday, November 30, the 24th Rotary Central Music Extravaganza, Royal Palms, West Bay Road from 7 p.m. Music by Sugar Daddy, C&B, Leslie Duran, and Trio Caribe. Get your golden tickets now on sale through Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, and eventpro.ky. Every ticket funds a cause. Rotary Central, 50 community projects over 33 years. Your ticket can be the winner. Your ticket, your chance, your community. Rotary, connecting the world.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have no callers. That caller, hopefully they will call back so we can continue with the conversation. I don't think that we concluded the amendments.
Well,
because we want to talk a little bit about the count itself.
Yes.
Those, as well as the ability of those 200 plus registered voters who are registered, but their names won't appear until January 1st. January 1st official register of electors.
Well, I'll take a stab at those particular areas, and just going back to the changes. There was not significant changes per se outside of the one that allows the supervisor to take off or not calculate the 45 persons that are deceased on the list, as well as the removal of the question. All the other amendments are minuscule, if I can say it, if there's such a thing in respect to amendments to a law, but it doesn't fundamentally change the bill. Now, in respect to the question about the 220 persons, the government didn't make any changes whatsoever to facilitate them being put on. But the interesting point is that every single member accepts that the elections law is old. It needs to be amended. I see that in the UK, as we heard, they're having an election on the 2nd of December.
And people can
still register to vote. And I think it's going to go all the way up to like 10 days before the election. And this fact that we are here this time in God's history, with the technology and information efficiencies that we have, that it takes as far as up to close to 1 day less than 6 months that a person gets on a list, is abuse of our democratic rights, in my opinion. And we keep on saying it. And what I'm worried about as a new member is we keep on talking about it, but we don't do anything. So my question is, okay, if this government agrees that we need a new law, we have an election 18 months away, fix the law now. They should. I expect them to come in their budget speech saying that they will have a bill coming to the House with the changes before the next election, because otherwise they don't care. I don't want to belittle, I want to actually answer your question, but in respect to the mixing of the vote was never changed either. There was a small amendment to Section 58, 1A, and I was hoping when I was reading it first, I was like, oh my goodness, they're going to actually change it. And then to my chagrin, I was fooled. They only actually added a few words, like say, for instance, right after mix, they're going to say, then separate into segments. So just adding on the clarity as to how the process is going to go. So the mixing will still happen, and ultimately every member will be disenfranchised from knowing exactly what their constituents wanted.
And that the separation in segments, what that really is that, for instance, it will allow for several returning officers to conduct the count simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yes.
But those segments don't in any way relate back to the constituency.
The constituencies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So they've obscured the detail.
I mean, it's really disappointing, and I can't say that it's nothing more than politics. Nothing more than politics. Why they've decided not to have the count in an electoral district, because ultimately there's no negatives to doing it on a district level. You will still get the overall count. The ratios will still be the same. And I personally think this is simply because of the fear that some of the members on that side will not get a majority in their constituency supporting the doc. And therefore they would have to recalculate. And we see a pattern of that now, actually, because the government actually has backed off a little bit. The Premier at first initially said that they will move forward if it doesn't meet the threshold of no. And that was an absolute question answer. Now we would have to consider after the results come in, if it doesn't meet the threshold either for or against, what we're going to do. Now, and I challenged him in the LA to say, well, how do you make that decision? Isn't the best way to make that decision based on a democratic process of 19 members? And logically speaking, each member would say, let me see the results in my area. Majority of the people in my area is for this project. Then I support. And if you get 10 out of 19, then democracy has won if the threshold hasn't been met. But again, I think it gives the level of control to manipulate the decision without those data being available to the public. And it's sad, but they have the control.
But don't you think that final decision based on the referendum results, you don't think that gives any MLA the cover that they need to say at the end of the day, the decision was made in the referendum? So I really am bound by that referendum decision, irrespective of how my constituents may feel later on, in relation to the project. I am bound by the results of the referendum.
Yes, you would be bound if you meet the threshold. Now the threshold
right,
is...
Right. If the project goes forward and you have...
Then I get what you're saying. Then we could all say, well, that was the end result.
Yes.
But I don't live like that, OC. I liken this to like when you're supposed to go to the doctor for your checkup and you keep putting it off because you don't know if you're going to get bad news. That's what they're doing. They're hiding from the truth. I would say that the underlying reason, because think about what they did. You have the ballot separated by constituency, by postal, by polling station, right? You're going to then take them, transport them to one place, mix them all together, and then you're going to separate them out again into these segments to count them. So why go through all that trouble? Why not just keep them the way they were originally? That's how we want to see results. That's democracy. I want to know how Newlands feels, whether Newlands may come out and say, no, Mr. Suku, we don't agree with you. That's a chance I take, but I want to know.
Yeah. And one of the points that Mr. Bryan had in, I think this would have been at the committee stage as well, was that, we always talk about data, and the lack of data. And here is an opportunity for you to get data, to know, in terms of how the public felt. So the only other data that you're going to have at the end of the day is
the overall result.
The overall result.
One other point, Mr. Billy Adam highlighted yesterday on another show. And he said that you see that in their referendum for Brexit, there was a breakdown by electoral districts.
Yeah.
Because some elected persons were against Brexit, and then the results in their constituency was actually for Brexit. And they had to, you hear them talk about it on the floor of the parliament, to say, listen, I don't support Brexit, but my people want Brexit, and therefore I'm going to do my job. And they can say that based on data and how it's collected. But this, honestly, I am bold enough to say this is nothing more than politics for this government to get their way, because they're afraid that they may lose support from their members if the results come in by way of electoral districts, because some of their members and their constituencies do not support by way of majority. And again, this is my opinion. There's some members on their government by way of majority will come back with a no.
Okay. Do we have enough time just to cover one more point? I think we have about 2 minutes. The count, the BRAC.
Yes.
And the transportation of the ballot papers over to the BRAC.
I didn't get a concrete answer, but as far, and I need to follow up on that today. But what I understand is that
I should have said the sister islands rather than the
sister
BRAC.
islands.
You have two constituencies. Yeah.
But what I understand is that they have to be brought over to Grand Cayman, and what we do is expose ourselves for potential perceived conflicts, or not conflicts, but manipulation, because first thing you're going to hear is rumors is, I heard a box was added to the plane on the way from Cayman Brac to Grand Cayman, or why add that unnecessariness, to the process when you could simply have counted it. So now, and to add to that, now we're going to have to wait longer for the results, because you have to wait for a flight, you have to wait for transport, and it's going to be obviously tedious. And so you can, no difference about 3 hours. But
well, they'll probably have a charter, a plane ready to roll as soon as the everything has been resolved.
Well, I assume
and in all fairness to the transportation of those ballot boxes, I would imagine would follow the same procedures as we follow when you're transporting the ballot boxes to any counting station, which means that you allow observers to, along with a police
the supervisor
officer.
Said that.
So, and we're not not overly concerned about an event taking place, but it's the perception.
Yes.
And you know that the other thing that they're doing as well that hurts the perception of the whole process is that I know how many registered voters I have in Newlands. So just under 1,300. So when you're counting those votes, if you did it on a constituency basis and I saw 1,500, then I would know something funny went on. The way they're doing it now, I don't know how many people in Newlands voted. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have any idea that I could do a quick calculation and say, well, there's something wrong here. But not that we expect it to happen, but that's one of the checks and balances as well that you were going to remove.
But one of the things that you would do as an observer, 9 o'clock, top of the hour. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news. Access to information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team. Today's biggest news.
The Anti-Corruption Commission says on Thursday verdicts were handed down by a jury in the final trial following an investigation into corruption of the administration of English language tests by a number of individuals, 5 of whom are public officials. In the final trial, 3 defendants, one being a public official, was convicted of conspiracy to commit fraud on government, contrary to the anti-corruption law. The 59-year-old woman was convicted by majority verdict, while defendants 2 and 3, females aged 40 and 36 respectively, were convicted by unanimous verdict. A sentencing date has yet to be fixed. 5 million masks have been distributed at schools in India's capital, Delhi, after pollution made the air so toxic officials were forced to declare a public health emergency. A Supreme Court-mandated panel imposed several restrictions in the city and 2 neighboring states as air quality deteriorated to, quote, severe levels. And a Barcelona court's decision to acquit 5 men accused of gang raping a 14-year-old girl of the charge of a sexual assault has provoked outrage. The court ruled out rape because the victim was in a, quote, unconscious state, and the accused had not used violence or intimidation. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health. Saturday, November 30, just before Christmas. You, yes, you can be the grand prize winner of $40,000 with your Rotary Central Music Extravaganza ticket purchase of only $25. Win that grand prize of $40,000. Second prize of $4,000, 6 $1,000 prizes, and more. Yes, Saturday, November 30, the 24th Rotary Central Music Extravaganza, Royal Palms, West Bay Road from 7 p.m. Music by Sugar Daddy, C&B, Leslie Duran, and Trio Caribe. Get your golden tickets now on sale through Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, and eventpro.ky. Every ticket funds a cause. Rotary Central, 50 community projects over 33 years. Your ticket can be the winner. Your ticket, your chance, your community. Rotary, connecting the world.
Logic presents The Change Project, a campaign that highlights the reality of cyberbullying and the mental health impact it has on teens, parents, teachers, and families. Few people speak up when they witness cyberbullying, but we can change that together. We can strive to make a difference in our community by promoting responsible internet and social media use in the Cayman Islands and beyond. Will you pledge to make a safer, friendlier world online? Visit thechangeprojectcayman.com and take the pledge today. Proudly presented and supported by Logic.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, MLA Mr. Alva Suku, and MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, who represents Georgetown Central in our Legislative Assembly. One of our listeners has written in and said, good morning, Mr. Connor, Mr. Bryan, and Mr. Suku. I feel the onus is upon the opposition and the makers of the referendum move, not the government. We must prove to the people that voting no is the right thing to do. In regards to having funds to campaign for our campaign on the referendum, my thoughts are do the same thing that you did to get elected. Don't be stingy. Get people to help with refreshments and have your constituency meetings islands-wide. People still need educating on this. Trust me.
Well, I want to agree with the caller that I think that we can do that option, but so should the government. So why should why should we be at a disadvantage? Why should we be at a disadvantage? Because I'm going to be using some of my salary that I use to pay my kids' education and everything else, and put food on my table and take care of my mother and everything else I do. And I'm going to use some of that to defend democracy, while the government gets to use the listening audience's taxpayers' money, and they keep their little money in their bank account. That's what is happening. So I agree with the person there. Now, in respect to the discussion about it's on the onus on the people to prove that the government is wrong, is a total flawed concept. I believe the onus is on the government to say, listen, I am confident that the people believe in me and what I am putting forward. it's just a matter of view, I guess. And how we're going to know that is based on the results of the referendum as well as the results of 2021. Because sadly, this is going to be a key determining factor in the next election. And we saw history show that already with the one man, one vote.
So in the absence of any mention or any part in the referendum law in relation to financing, does that mean that you as legislators have the ability to go out there to raise funds from whatever entities to campaign, whether you campaign for or against?
In relation to this particular referendum, there are no financing rules.
Right, yeah.
So I can only assume then that it's a free-for-all, Wild West. We don't operate like that. We, as Mr. Bryan said, we don't get government funds to spend anyway. So we are going to have to go in our pockets, and we may have to see where we can raise funds to campaign. However, majority of that, for example, we have to go to the sister islands. We're not going to get plane tickets from anybody. We're going to have to buy plane tickets and go over there and campaign. But we do that. We do that because we feel it's part of our job, part of our responsibilities, even if it costs us personally, and it will.
Matter of fact, I'd like to take this opportunity to suggest that, and Deputy Leader, I don't know if you mind taking the number, putting your number out for the purposes of, we have the office number up now, right?
Well, I would give an email so we don't miss anybody, unless they want to WhatsApp. My number is 925-2582. I prefer WhatsApp so that there's a record of the contact, and I don't forget, because I do get a lot of messages. I get a lot of calls. But my email address is alva .succoo @gmail.com. So if people want to contact me that way,
because we need help. We definitely need help, and
volunteers as well.
So if there's anybody out there who wants to help us raise necessary funds for this or help volunteer, please contact Alva. And I was going to give my email, but then you'd have like 3 different locations for information. So it's probably best just giving one set of details. And he is the deputy. So again, before the end of the show, we'll repeat that. If you want to contribute in any amount, can help, because obviously we're limited. The government has $700 million to work from, and we probably got about $500 each per month to put towards it. So that's the reality. But if you allow me, Osei,
sure.
One of the key components of my debate. Everybody's focused on different parts, as you heard. One of my key concerns was the cargo element in respect to the project. I don't think the government has a mandate, because I went through all the government members, excluding the member Austin Harris and Honorable Dwayne Seymour, because I couldn't find access to their manifestos. But I can concretely say that we have heard Mr. Harris agree that he was against it. So we know he wasn't elected on that mandate. So the only other one was the Honorable Dwayne Seymour, and I couldn't find his manifesto, whether Cruz was in it or not. But in respect to the other members, the members of the Progressive, the members of the CDP, as well as the one independent from West Bay, the Honorable Tara Rivers, there was never a mandate by totality of the CDP, because the CDP never said anything about cruise and cargo. They said they would enhance cruise tourism. So that's 3 of the supporting cast for the government not there. And we heard what the Honorable Bernie Bush has said, that he doesn't support it. So that's one less. And CAP is less, and now the Honorable Mr. Bush, the Speaker, is less. Because when we speak about mandate and what the government is saying, they have the mandate, they're doing that based on what is in the manifesto and what they got elected on. So they don't have the mandate. Now, Austin campaigned against it. So that's another one gone. So how many members are in the government again now? 13, right? 13. So we're already gone down 4. So we're down to 9 now. So where is the mandate? Because even in the Progressives manifesto, it says cruise. It doesn't say anything about cargo. Now, you might say, well, why am I arguing about cargo? Because we're a developing country, and yes, we need extra cargo. I agree with that. But where that cargo is important to me, not only from a national perspective, but as the representative of the constituency. It is our capital. And if we grow to 100,000, 200,000, what kind of cargo facilities will we be in operation with, and what will that look like? And with it being right next to much of our administration buildings, I don't think it creates the best environment. And here's the other most interesting point, is they have done no studies of what cargo could potentially do to the city. And this is coming from a report done by the EAB Review of Consultant Draft Environmental Statement and Technical Appendices and Non-Technical Summary. And it's the Environmental Assessment Board. So their job is to assess what the effects will be. This was an environmental assessment on the cruise part, not on the cargo. And I'm going to read a little segment of it. It says...
And when was that done?
And this was the one that was done in 2015. Now, they haven't updated the EIA, so we don't even know if they've done considerations to that. But in it says, cargo operations. The scope of the EIA pertained only to cruise berthing and did not call for an assessment of capacity of existing future cargo operations. The terms of reference did, however, stipulate that the EIA should consider the interface between cruise and cargo operations and how cruise berthing may affect cargo operations during construction and operation of the berthing facility. Therefore, whilst the environmental statement refers to the opportunity to expand existing cargo operation, this has not been scoped in respect to traffic, air quality, visual impact, requirement for additional dredging, are adequately assessed in the context of the EIA environmental impact assessment. So what that is basically saying is they haven't taken into consideration expanding the cargo and what it will do to Georgetown. Mm-hmm. So again, we're going back to people saying, well, maybe you may have a mandate for cruise if you want to argue that point, and I think I dispelled that mandate view, but they don't have a mandate for cargo. I'm not saying we don't need to have better cargo, but we have to understand the effects of that on our capital district. And the fact that you heard him say it on your show that they have no intentions of moving the cargo. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't done a proper scope, and the scope then comes back and actually says, you know what, this may be damaging to our administrative capital, then you're moving forward with the expansion of that. And we hear discussions about going into transshipment and larger ships. What does that do to our harbor? And that's my concern primarily about the whole process.
Okay.
And quickly, we'll see. Sure. If you look at the government's arguments that they're doing this in conjunction with the revitalization of Georgetown, bringing back business and life to Georgetown, well, read that EAB report on page 16. Dredging and construction will result in the permanent loss of goods and services provided by the reefs within the dredging footprint, and the likely loss of goods and services provided by adjacent reefs due to indirect impacts, with an estimated economic loss in the order of $16 to $27 million over the anticipated 2.5 to 3 year period of construction. Mm. What this project is going to do is shut down businesses in Georgetown.
Yeah.
So we're talking about revitalizing the capital and bringing back business and life there, when the EAB report, which is a government report, says that we're going to be reducing the economy of Georgetown by $16 to $27 million. And it's contrary to what they're saying that this will accomplish.
Okay. I have to take a commercial break. When we return, folks, please stay tuned. When we return, the conversation with MLAs Mr. Kenneth Bryan and Mr. Alva Suku, who is also the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, will continue. So please stay tuned.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
The government claims the cruise berthing facility won't cost us a penny. It will be paid for by the cruise passenger who use it, not by our people or our government.
The fact is, you will be paying.
Because government is going to give the consortium development team, led by Royal Caribbean and Carnival, a portion of the cruise revenue that is currently being banked by government.
What's more, we will be repaying them
$450 million.
$250 million more
than what the facility even costs.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
Pirates Week got something for everyone. This holiday Monday, November 11th, come out to Culture Shop on Cardinal Avenue. Watch the youth snapper cook-off, learn how to make silver touch rope, blow a conch horn, and spin a gig. Local arts and crafts will be on sale, and vendors will offer up the best in traditional foods and treats. But wait, there's more. Find out who will win the District Heritage Ambassador Costume Competition and stay for the Illumination Parade and fireworks. Learn more at piratesweekfestival.com. Culture Shop, Monday, November 11, Cardinal Avenue, starting at 12 noon. Sponsored by Ministry of Tourism, Department of Tourism, Ministry of Culture, AI Rentals, Ace Cayman, the Tourism Attraction Board, Pepsi, and Cayman Distributors Group.
Also brought to you by Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. How you all doing today?
Pretty good. Fine, thanks.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm all right. Thanks. I just want to say too that, you know, putting the birthing facility in downtown, you know, in the high season is when we get northwesters. High season meaning more ships, all of that, right? The ships can't stop.
Right.
So what's the point in putting the birthing facility in town? The ships can't stop. They have to divert to spots or bypass us. If you had the port out of town, it would serve like taxis and buses much better. The transportation part of it, because that way we will get the transportation issue at least to bring people to town. I mean, who puts a port exactly where everything is, where people can just walk right off and go right into everything? You know, they're not really looking out for us, and they've just gone and put out must be over 100 new taxi drivers on the road. So they're not concerned that we're going to be getting much out of this.
Yeah, again, it's sorry to cut you. It's almost like you're fighting over the crumbs again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So if we could get a transportation, say from overstay spots down to town, down to the beach, get them back, that way we're pretty sure to make something, even if we don't get like the tours or whatever. You know.
Good point. Very good point.
Putting it in downtown serves no purpose. The people are going to go right back on board to eat. The restaurants are going to suffer. They're gonna see how fast they're going to have to close their doors.
Yeah.
If they think that voting for this pier in town is going to serve us, they're sadly mistaken.
Actually, caller, you actually made a very good point there. I wonder if customers are going to be able to go back and forth to the ship, because think about what she just said. If you come off early in the morning and you go and you look around and stuff and you say, boy, I want to save myself $50 for me and my family or something. Let me just go back on board at 1 o'clock or at 12 o'clock. We all have free lunch and then we come back off again. That could potentially decrease the per spend per customer that they've been depending on in their reports.
Yeah. And they will go back on the ship.
Listen, when I see the airport, the disaster over there, and the disasters that are waiting to happen, you know, how they have the cab drivers lined up three lanes across from the airport when it's dry, when it's raining, they put us back alongside the airport because when it's dry, Majestic and Webster occupies alongside the airport, which that cover doesn't really serve us much purpose, when it's raining, because the water is coming down, pitching towards the airport, is running down on the sidewalk and then running off. The drains are so far, like they're on the right hand side of the cab drivers. Then the drains. So by the time they reach the drains, we're when we have to get out of our cabs, we're standing in like 4 inches of water. To manage to get people in the cab. And then when I hear Mr. Moses Colonel say that all of what they've done there is only temporary, I mean, all of this concrete, all of these big old rebar, not rebar, I don't know the exact word for it, but all those pieces of iron and all that, and that little cover, what are you going to do in the high season too? I mean, okay, we're over on the right-hand side. People are lined up in the Broyle and Hudson out there, right? There's one little piece of cover on the right-hand side there. This is really unacceptable. When I hear them say, or hear him say that is temporary, then they go and they buy Scotiabank for a courthouse. Buy Scotiabank for a courthouse instead of saying, okay, let's buy that since that's kind of central. And have that like a little trading school or something, because when I say central, at least the bus stop is right there. People can catch the buses and get, get from point A to point B, whatever, and learn something. No, they're in it for the police officers, the judiciary, the prison officers, the probation officers. They got to make sure that they keep them in a job while our children are packed up in northward. When I look around, I see the schools. They just gave the green light for this John Gray High School after 10 years?
That's been sitting there quite a while.
They're doing that to make you believe that they're doing something so that they can, have that kind of record. Now, they're doing this and they're doing that and all that. No. Oh, no. Listen, I'm asking the public, I'm pleading with the Caymanian public, the voters, to please come out to vote no against this port in downtown. I'm not saying we don't need a port, but not there. It's not going to serve us. And I understand that the biggest developer in this country has plans to have big boats, take the people from the ships straight to his hotels and beach clubs and everything on 7 Mile Beach, therefore cutting us out of more business again. It's going to serve no purpose besides these billionaires and these money people in this country that is looking out for their own family and their own pockets, because it's a pile of corruption here. The corruption is rampant, and we all know it.
Caller?
When I look at just give me one more second.
Sure.
When I come through Maxfield Drive sometimes, that road is deplorable. But you see, it's poor people that live down in there. So they're not concerned about that. They're concerned about the 7 Mile Strip. I mean, how much more can that take?
Well, caller, it's interesting you say that, because I was just seeing on Facebook a new road being paved in the Windsor Park area. A road that definitely needs to be paved. No doubt about that. But I recall, and I had to say to the minister throughout the LASA, you promised me to fix Maxfield Lane from over 1.5 years ago on the floor of the House. But yet still, Georgetown West and Georgetown South are getting new paved roads, but I still can't get Maxfield Lane paved. So I'm tell you what, I'm going to be interested to hear what he has to say when budget comes up, because he don't keep his promises, and it's just because we're not a part of the government. So they're doing this, taking care of their own constituency concept rather than everybody. I guess Georgetown Century people don't matter to this government.
Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. Do we have another caller on hold? No calls at all. In relation to Maxfield Lane, I must say that the former chairman of the National Roads Authority, that's one of the issues that he was looking into. I think one of the stumbling blocks to that may be, now the question is whether or not you simply pave it the way it is, or you try to make it much more accessible, because if you're entering Maxfield Lane from Mary Street, only one car can enter at a time, and it is also a blind corner, extremely difficult. So getting the landowners there to either agree or a government deciding whether or not they're going to use compulsory acquisition to widen the road is a question. But it is a touchy issue. But I know that there were efforts being made to
if you can't
it
get the land, which
year.
I understand, you have to respect the landowners there and work with them to find a solution. And that's for the government to figure that part out. But until then, at least pave the road. There's holes in there the size of this table. And every rainy season, I got to call up NRA and say, can you please come in and fill up these holes? Yeah. So that's not an excuse. And the other part is a safety concern. We have Georgetown children coming from Georgetown Primary at the end of school every day, having to walk through that road with cars coming around a blind corner. If somebody gets hurt, then we're going to say, we're going to fix it right away. Then they'll fix it right away. But we always wait till something happens, sadly.
And some work has been done on the road on the southern end of Georgetown Primary, the corner there by Azan's.
Yes.
All the way down. They have redone that.
Yes.
That was done, I think, probably
what constituency does that fall in?
This week. No idea.
No idea? Well, it's not in Georgetown Central, let me say that.
You don't have questions. But, and speaking of Minister Hewitt, and, he's my good friend and everything, but he did say something in his debate that made us perk up, because he made a reference to how many Caymanians are employed in cruise tourism versus stay over. And in his own debate, he actually detailed that Caymanians don't really have much of a stake in stay over.
I heard that.
And that is startling, because I give him credit. He admitted it. But it is a sad situation where the government admits that we have an industry here that is the most lucrative, the one that produces the most money. But no Caymanian is there. But we're going to try to get them jobs in the cruise, which is only 20%.
And the other part he added on to that was to say and send out a warning to those business persons to say, be careful what you ask for, because if we don't get this cruise, then we're going to come and infiltrate that 80% of stayover tourism. So what it tells me is you can actually do it. You're just choosing not to do it.
Yeah, and that goes right back to Roy Borden question: who are we developing for?
Yeah. We have one caller. Let's see if we can grab the caller before we go to the commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor and your guest. This is Paul Hurston from South Sound.
Good morning, Captain Paul. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Oh, I'm still here, thankful. I hope I can pronounce this word correctly. But all you can hear on CNN News today is whatever that is.
Pro quo.
Pro quo.
Quid pro quo.
I wonder if that's not what's going on here. I wonder what's not, because, 5% of 200 million comes up to about $10 million. So someone should look at that. Someone, because that is international. It happens all over the world. I'm not asking anybody. I'm telling you. So that's my little 2 cents. You gentlemen, think about that. You'll realize why this sport is so important. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Captain Paul. Take a commercial break. When we return, we can get feedback from our guests in here in relation to Captain Paul's comment as well. So please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts. Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
Feed Our Future is pleased to present
the annual Island Roast
at the beach deck at Seafire. It's all going down Saturday, November 2nd. Help to raise funds to feed Cayman's youth and take in delicious Caribbean plates by the top island chefs with performances by Selecta Renegade, Steel Pan with Michael LeMay, and Flow Motion. All-inclusive drink and meal tickets. $175 CI available at eventpro.ky. Yes, the annual Island Roast, Saturday, November 2nd at the Seafire. Feed Our Future, solving childhood hunger.
Okay, let's go.
Saturday, November 2nd.
Breeze Fusion 2019.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run and a 10K run for half marathon trainers. Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCBO.
Yes, Cayman Islands, it's back. Your chance to be healthy. Your chance to give back.
Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studio.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Saturday, November 2nd.
I like to move it. You like to move it.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Taking place at Smith Bacadere, starting at 6:15 a.m.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome to For the Record. We have about a half an hour left to go on the show this morning. In the studio with me, we have the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, MLA, Mr. Alva Suku, and also with us, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, who represents Georgetown Central in our Legislative Assembly as well. One of our listeners has written in and said, please ask this critical question of the panel. Who develops a marine park in the middle of a busy and ever-expanding cargo port? That's number one. Two, can you identify another country or island that has a marine park in their designated commercial harbor or port?
Well, it's a good point. By all means, I think what the person is trying to say is that the cargo was there before many of these other attractions that happen. Now, there is a harbor zone. So if you create a zone in the harbor, and that zone is, say, 100 square feet, let's just use an example. So that is what is established, and there's a nice dive site just adjacent to it. Obviously, commercially, they're going to take advantage of the opportunities. So I established myself. Everybody's working well together 10 years, and then the government goes, actually, I want to expand it now. So who's doing what? So it's not like these people are coming there and saying, I want to impose on the port area. The port area was small at that stage, and now they're expanding it. This boils down to the decision of where do we want our cargo environment to be at. And by expanding that, by closing down these zones, we're accepting that this is now going to be our port zone. I don't think that the intention was forever cargo to be in the capital district. You asked, the person who made the comment asked about who builds marine environments around a port, cargo port. The question should be, is which government builds a port right there in the capital district? That's the question should be. And now that was established way before, when many of our forefathers wasn't thinking about capital infrastructure and planning. So we just did it where we could at that particular time. Obviously, we've developed.
It was the most convenient.
It was the most convenient at that time, and what we could afford. Now, what I expect of the government of today is to start thinking for the future. What it tells me is they're just not thinking about the future, and that's what my concern is. But I get what the person viewpoint is.
And what it shows also is that there was a time when, because of the lesser amount of activity, where the two could coexist in the same area. The frequency with which we had cargo vessels coming into the Cayman Islands, was much less. So you could coexist.
But you can't do that anymore.
But what came first was the marine environment. And that is what initially attracted people here. Back in the 70s and 80s when they came here to dive, and the story got out that the Cayman Islands were so beautiful and untouched, and people started to come and visit. That is what made us attractive to the rest of the world, and that's what I believe we need to maintain. If we start to go at mass tourism and pass ourselves off as, another South Beach or whatever, Cancun, then we lose our uniqueness. We lose that niche that we've created for ourselves. And my view has always been, if stayover is clearly what brings the revenue here, that's the main breadwinner for us in tourism. Let's focus on that. Let's stay unique. Let's say we are going to be eco-friendly. We are not going to dredge up our harbor and our reefs for the sake of you coming here for one day on a cruise ship to enjoy yourself. But if you appreciate what we're doing to protect what's ours, you can come on a smaller ship. You can come as many times as you want, but come on shore, spend your money on shore, eat at our restaurants, use our taxes. But we're not going to destroy our natural environment just so you can come and enjoy it for one day. Because we have to live with this forever. Our people have to live with this forever. And that is where we're going. If we're not careful, is that we could potentially destroy what made us attractive in the first place.
Okay, one of our listeners has a question, and it says, if a cruise visitor spends $100 with the cruise ship for a Stingray City tour, and the local tour operator receives $20 from the cruise company in relation to that particular tour, what amount is recorded as being spent in the cruise ship visitor spend? Is it $100? It seems to me that the average spend for the business case for cruise tourism could be grossly overstated.
Wow, that's a very interesting
point. That's a good question. Yes. Very good question.
Very.
The other question someone posed to me, and I don't quite know the answer yet, is that we have ships that come here from time to time, and they pay a head tax for each passenger. However, those ships that are forced to bypass due to weather, whatever, have they still been paying that head tax? And have we been collecting that? Because if we have been collecting that, and you add that up over the years, that's a lot of money. So we could have used that money to improve things.
Okay, two callers. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes. Good morning, Lucy.
Good morning. How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, good morning to you guys, your panel, Kenneth and Alva and Saunders, I think.
Morning. Yeah, Mr. Saunders left, but he had to leave, but we're Kenneth and I are still here.
Okay, then. Yeah, I just want to say something about Hawkside Bay and the harbor, and the cruise port that they're planning on putting in to Georgetown. I grew up in Georgetown. Matter of fact, I born right where, according to my mother, I born right where Royal Water Terminal is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where I born. So I grew up on Mary Street, but Hawkside Bay was our playground in the water and the annex next door. Listen, that it ain't no room for no mistakes building or destroying that dock out there, because not destroying the dock, but destroying that area of Georgetown. Because you see the cruise ships, I met them in 1994, with some guys in the Minister of Tourism at that time. Went up there to meet them when we were trying to stagger the tenders to make sure that everybody would get an equal share of the passengers. The cruise ship really don't mean us any good. I can tell you that right now. The cruise ship is out to make money for the cruise ship and the guys or the companies that control the cruise ships, because they'll paint you up, put a picture after they destroy what you have or what Mother Nature put there. There is no room for no mistakes. You cannot correct it. It is something you cannot correct. So you guys are in the MLA, and you have your constituents on the eastern side of the island, but you're supposed to be representing the Cayman Islands in my books. Just put it straight to the people, especially the government that is in power right now, that, listen, we're not putting the dog down there. You see what happened up in Hong Kong? Where China won't control Hong Kong now, and you have protests now for like about almost running close to 6 months or more.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing can happen in Georgetown, you know.
Yeah.
You see, I gotta give you a little notation or a little thing that Martin Luther King said in one of his statements. He said, if a man in life haven't found anything that he would die for, he not fit to live. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So stick with that.
It's a powerful statement.
Thank you very much, caller. One more caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. O.C. Good morning to the honorable members here, the MLA, Mr.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Koo and Mr. Dennis Bryan.
Good morning, sir.
I really have never found anyone who is in business that is not in business to make money. They won't be in business for very long, including the hotel. One of our MLAs did say that there are more people, Caymanians, and their food figures employed in the cruise industry by far than they are employed in the fuel. So tourism is great, you know, that provides taxes to the government, maybe not enough, but it's there. And the other part, cruise tourism, also provides taxes. And the government cannot be run without taxes. Even half idiots like myself know that very well. The Bordentown was long the capital when Hochside was being used as our main port. Rightly, as Mr. O.C. said, it is the most convenient, and guess where they always did. When you look at photographs of the old port and so forth, which is not a harbor, Captain Paul has often painstakingly explained, and many people say it's a harbor, but it's not. But so therefore, when they decided, I don't know, the question wasn't answered to the person if you know anywhere else where there's a marine park around the central port of a country. I don't know. I've never heard of any. And the thing is this: the marine park was put there by, I don't know when it was made a marine park. We know the dangers of those huge ships dragging their anchors, huge freighters backing in and out, and we know that coral has been damaged by them and by the cruise ships, and it will continue to do so into perpetuity. And is it the right place for a marine park? You gentlemen can decide that, because I've never heard anyone really talking about that until the issue now has arisen, where this very, very political thing has arisen. Very political it is, and huge divisions arising, as any one can see. Again, any half-idiot like myself can see tremendous division and derisiveness it's causing amongst our people, and it saddens me greatly. It saddens me greatly. But I just wondered if the question I have asked of Mr. O.C. a few times, because now I think people are beginning to realize how important the referendum is, its serious consequences that it has on a government, which doesn't matter which government, doesn't matter. It happens right now to be a political leader in the Premier, Mr. McLaughlin. It could be any other government, but for them to achieve even some of the things, no government will ever achieve their manifesto, what they said. We know that. It never has happened.
What's the question, caller? A little bit past my commercial break.
Time limit for a petition to be received by the government or by the elected office or the governor, on how many referendums you can hold in a term. That
Okay.
is why I've asked for us to try and put in that we extend the terms, since we're a crown colony and have to spend a lot of time of an elected government to between back and forth between Great Britain and important issues to be decided on how to run the country. Why not try and opt to move it to a 5-year term? There are other countries that have that in place.
Okay, got you with that, caller, and hopefully a permanent referendum law will address some of those issues as well. We have to go to a commercial break. We're going to close the phone lines off after to give members around the table final comments, but we still have 3 callers queued up. So we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to try to accommodate those 3 callers as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Saturday, November 30, just before Christmas. You, yes, you can be the grand prize winner of $40,000 with your Rotary Central Music Extravaganza ticket purchase of only $25. Win that grand prize of $40,000. Second prize of $4,000, 6 $1,000 prizes, and more. Yes, Saturday, November 30, the 24th Rotary Central Music Extravaganza, Royal Palms, West Bay Road from 7 p.m. Music by Sugar Daddy, C&B, Leslie Duran, and Trio Caribe. Get your golden tickets now on sale through Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, and eventpro.ky. Every ticket funds a cause. Rotary Central, 50 community projects over 33 years. Your ticket can be the winner. Your ticket, your chance, your community. Rotary, connecting the world.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Vehicle owners are reminded that the Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing amnesty will expire on November 1st. The amnesty provides a waiver of back fees for unlicensed vehicles. If you plan to keep your vehicle on the road, keep your plates and visit the DVDL. If you are discarding your vehicle, dispose of it at the landfill and drop your plates off at the DVDL. For more information, contact 945-8344 or visit www.dvdl.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have 1 WhatsApp message, 2 callers. We're going to just say to the callers, if it's just a question that you have, we want you to pose your question and then wait afterwards by listening to the radio for the response as well. Let's do the voice note first. Here we go.
Mr. Saku, I certainly agree with your words just now. The uniqueness of our island not to be like everywhere else. I certainly agree and appreciate those words. We must save something of what we have been and not try to be, like so big and that everywhere that everyone go, they see the same thing. We want to be unique, and I really, really appreciate your words.
I want to thank that caller for
Thank
that.
you.
Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Okay. Yes, sometime this week, I think it was Monday, Sterling Dween on his show received a letter from someone saying that last week, Friday, 10 o'clock in the night, there were 3 buses that stopped by the West Bay graveyard by the fire station.
Mm-hmm.
And they were Halloween people. And they went into the graveyard. They were taking pictures and standing on the graves. So there needs to be a law put in place that these people will realize the seriousness of disrespecting our loved ones in that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Yeah, don't want to desecrate.
No. I think there is laws in place for that.
Yeah. Okay. Last caller for the morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
And in the interest of time, good morning to all. I just have one question. I was listening to the debate the last day the House was in session, and I don't know if the question was ever answered because I'm still left very confused, as I guess many people are. But was there ever a clear answer as to what the question on the referendum is going to be?
Well, we had in the bill the question as the government proposed to pose it. We've taken that out of the bill because of some legal technicalities and conflicts with the Constitution. So Cabinet is going to now set the question in Cabinet, but they, I guess, hinted to the fact that they won't seek to change it. But we haven't seen the final question yet. But I'm assuming it will be the same. Could I borrow your bill? I'll tell you what question we were debating. That was in the bill. Should the Cayman Islands continue to move forward with building the cruise berthing and enhanced cargo port facility? That is the question that we debated, and everyone understands will be the question.
So ultimately, caller, if it changes, it would be the government's choice to change it, and we won't know that until they actually release the what is it called again? The regulations, the schedule.
Okay, so on that, could I just expand and maybe two more quick questions?
Go right ahead, caller.
One, when the question is finalized, is it going to be published before you go to the polls to vote? And two, are you going to be voting for one thing or two things at the same time?
Well, the question should then appear in the Gazette. Clearly, it would be really wrong to go right to referendum day and no one knows what the question is. There's going to be a lot of PR, I'm assuming, and there's going to be a lot of informational meetings and so on. So I think everybody will know what the question is before referendum day. What was the second question?
If there's going to be more than one question? Is that what you asked?
Or are we settling, because I guess you were referring to cargo and port, and cruise berthing.
I'm asking the question now, if when you go to the polls to vote, are you voting for or against a port and a pier, or is this just a question regarding the pier?
No, they would have combined, what they have done is combine cargo, port with cruise berthing. I argued against that because it's ambiguous, and they have now, when we modified the bill, they added in guidelines to setting the question, and it said it should be unambiguous. In my mind, adding cargo to that, because the petitioners didn't ask for cargo. If you look at the petition from CPR, they said nothing about cargo. So I don't know why the government has chosen to include cargo. They're saying that the two go together. Mr. Bryan just read a report that says they did not. And that was a government report that said that cargo was not part of this discussion. So they've thrown that in, and I know why. It's a tactic, because you may support developing the cargo port, but you may not support the cruise berthing. So then it puts you in a conflict with yourself, because you're going to say, well, I can't vote against cargo.
Or vice versa.
But just bear in mind when you go to the poll that was not part of the original scope of the petition, and it was not part of the original scope of this project. And so it has been thrown in there to cause confusion and a dilemma when you go to vote. But overall, the main purpose of this referendum is to decide on the future of cruise berthing. And when you go out to vote, that's what you must bear in mind.
Well, that is what we all understood it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I'm just going to say this. You can answer on air or choose not to answer at all. But I don't know if anyone has seen a picture that has been floating around about what is happening right now in downtown Nassau. I didn't need to see the picture to know that it's happening, because I already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Very surprised that no one ever used that as an argument. But if no one has sent you all this picture yet, maybe you should ask someone to.
Send it to me, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it.
I know you have my number, so send it to me. I would like to see it.
Okay. I want to thank that caller. Gentlemen, opportunity for some closing remarks.
Quickly, I just want to close off by saying this. One of my major concerns about this cargo part is cargo and cruise is when they redevelop the port. I haven't seen the overall plans because we have some rental units on the port right now. And I was opposed to that concept when they did Royal Water back in the day, because I do not think government should ever be in competition with private individuals. Mm-hmm. And what I'm concerned about is, okay, that is already gone and established. The fighting battle was over already about that part. But what I understand is that they're going to be adding more rental units to this overall plan. And that's going against the grain of what the progressives said that they would do, because you're competing with other merchants downtown. Mm-hmm. And I want to read from
I thought there was not going to be any upland development.
Well, they're going to put back the units that were there on the rental units that are there. Like, say, for instance, you see the liquor and the duty free that is on the port. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm happy to stand to be corrected, because it will be in the best interest of the people. But I just want to refer back to the PPM's manifesto, where it says we will not try to build another city offshore Georgetown to compete against existing merchants. So if they increase the square footage of rental space on this project, they are competing with local merchants. So you see, again, reasons why you want to see the design. I haven't seen the design or the square footage layout. So I can't say whether or not a person who may factor that in their decision making can't say whether or not it's fair. Because if I was a merchant downtown and I specifically spend a lot of money in my rent because I want to be closest to the passenger when they come off, and then the government adds more retail space, then you make me become less attractive. So that being said, I'll leave the rest for my colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, see, how much time do I have left?
A minute and a half.
Okay. I have an article here that I wanted to read from. It's Science Daily. I won't read the whole thing, but the title is "Over 500,000 Corals Destroyed by Port of Miami Dredging Study Finds." This is done by the University of Miami, and it's on May 30th of this year. And it starts off saying, a team of researchers, including scientists at the University of Miami School of Marine and Atmospheric Science, published new findings that reveal significant damage to Miami's coral reefs from the 16-month dredging operation at the Port of Miami that began in 2013. The study found that sediment buried between half to 90% of nearby reefs, resulting in widespread coral death. The results, published in the journal Marine Pollution Bulletin, estimate that over 500,000 corals were killed within 550 yards, 500 meters of the dredge channel, and that dredging impacts may have spread across more than 15 miles of Florida's reef tract. Well, see, I do not want any scientist to have to write a report similar to this in the Cayman Islands. We have the Central Caribbean Marine Institute's report, which basically says that in 20 years they have been studying our reefs, and in 20 years we have lost half of our reefs, our corals, 50%. If we take an action now that is going to destroy more, and they have admitted they will destroy coral, we are going to reduce that significantly. The dredging impact, the sediment, there's just too much risk involved with us taking this chance with our marine environment. We are going to potentially destroy what made us great.
And the repopulation of the coral reef, you don't think that will...
80% of transplanted corals die within 2 years. Okay. That is no assurance that we are going to successfully relocate coral and have it survive.
Okay, gentlemen, I want to thank you all very much. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Fidelity Bank, for all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access. Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team. Today's biggest news.
The annual Remembrance Sunday ceremony in Grand Cayman will be held at the Cenotaph outside Elmsley Memorial United Church on November 10th. Cayman Brack ceremony will run simultaneously, taking place in front of the War Memorial in Steg Bay.